The story began with the final goodbye. A light rain fell on the morning of his father's funeral. Derek stood by the coffin, staring at his father's name. People came to pay their respects, but Derek barely noticed. His father, who had worked hard to raise and protect him, was really gone. Across from him, Karen dabbed her eyes with a handkerchief. She was his father's second wife, much younger than him, and had entered their lives when Derek was a teenager. Derek had never seen her as a mother figure, and she had never tried to be one. At the will reading 2 weeks later, Derek sat still as the lawyer recited clause after clause. Then came the moment. To my beloved son Derek, I leave the full balance of my estate, including the house, and remaining financial assets. There was a pause. The lawyer glanced around the room. There are no further bequests. Karen's face turned to stone. A week later, Karen called him. Polite, but cold. Derek, I think we should talk, she said, her voice smooth like old wine. He agreed reluctantly. They met at a quiet cafe near the lawyer's office. Karen wore sunglasses, even indoors, but Derek could see the tension in her jaw. Your father never told me he planned to cut me out of the will, she began, stirring her coffee. He didn't cut you out. He just did what he felt was right. I was his wife for 18 years, she said. I cared for him when he was sick. I cooked, I cleaned, You also spent his money like it was Monopoly cash, Derek said flatly. She recoiled. Excuse me? I saw the bank statements. The vacations, the jewelry, the new car, all while Dad was getting sicker. You cared for him? You hired a nurse and left for a cruise. She slammed her cup down. You're cold. I'm realistic. Karen leaned forward. Derek, I don't need everything. Just a share. Something? I gave him the best years of my life. He looked her straight in the eye. And he gave you what he thought you earned. Nothing. She left in silence. It didn't take long before the whispers started. Cousins he hadn't spoken to in years sent awkward messages. Karen said you're keeping everything? She took care of your dad. Shouldn't she get something? One aunt even posted cryptically on Facebook. Some people forget who really shows up in times of need. He wanted to scream. Where were these people when his dad was in the hospital for the 5th time, or when he needed rides to his appointments? Derek had been the one sleeping in a hospital chair, eating vending machine food. One evening, his Uncle Richard called. Son, I'm not saying you're wrong, but think about the family. Think about how this looks. I'm not here to perform charity so others can sleep at night, Derek replied. Click. Karen wasn't finished. She began showing up unannounced, at his workplace, at the cemetery, even once outside his apartment. I'm not trying to fight, she said, makeup running. I just want to understand why you hate me so much. He didn't answer. He remembered her shouting matches with his dad. Her stonewalling him whenever he asked about medical updates. The way she flirted with other men at parties while Dad sat alone. One afternoon, she brought a photo album. Look, she said, flipping pages. Holidays. Our wedding. Your father smiling. Your scrapbook doesn't rewrite history, he said. That night, he found a letter slipped under his door. Derek, I'm sorry if I hurt you. Your father and I had our ups and downs, but I loved him. Please don't erase me. He didn't respond. Derek needed closure. He contacted Mr. Lowell, his father's financial advisor. Over coffee, Lowell laid out the facts. Your father rewrote his will 2 years ago? After he found out Karen had taken a loan against his life insurance policy, without telling him. Derek's eyes widened. She what? Used his signature. Technically forgery, but he didn't want the scandal. He just canceled the policy and rewrote the will. More came out, hidden debts, donations to a charity that led to her personal bank account, and a secret bank card she used for spa retreats. She nearly bankrupted him, Lowell said. You saved him by stepping in when you did. It was like ice water down his spine. the woman demanding a share had almost left his father destitute. That night, Derek sent a letter. "Karen, I now fully understand why my father made the choices he did. You have your memories, but you will receive no inheritance from me. This will be my last contact." Derek? He blocked her number, changed his locks, told family if they brought up Karen again, the conversation was over. It was hard at first. Guilt doesn't vanish overnight. But guilt, he realized, was Karen's weapon. And he was done being wounded. A year later, Derek sat on the porch of the house his father left him. The same porch where they had shared beers, arguments, and late-night talks. He had repainted the walls, replaced the garden Karen once deemed too plain. It was peaceful. The money had been put to wonderful use. He renovated the home and garden, and even adopted a dog, fulfilling a lifelong dream he had always cherished. Karen had faded from view. Rumor had it she moved to another state. He didn't care. Sometimes, when the wind blew just right, he imagined his dad's voice. "You did the right thing, son." Family is not determined by blood alone, nor obligation by paper. Love, loyalty, and legacy. Those were the truths Jonathan Rhodes had chosen to pass on. And Derek? He had honored that truth. Not by giving in, but by standing firm. Even when it hurt. Because some promises, once etched in, will live on forever. Cleaning out his father's study was like stepping into a living museum. Every drawer, every photo, held echoes of a man who loved deeply, but trusted too easily. Derek opened an old cigar box and found handwritten letters, notes his father had started to write but never sent. One of them was addressed to Karen. "Karen, I fear I've made a mistake. You see me as a means to comfort, not a partner. I'm too old to start over, but I can't pretend anymore." Reading it broke something in him. The knowledge that his father had stayed out of fear, out of loneliness, it ached. But it also validated everything. He carefully folded the unfinished letter and kept it. Months passed. Then, one day, a knock. It wasn't Karen, but someone close, her sister Linda. "I'm not here to fight," she said. "But you should know, Karen's not well." "I'm sorry to hear that," Derek said cautiously. "She's drinking." "Keep saying she was robbed." "I didn't rob her. I upheld my father's wishes." Linda nodded. "I believe you. But she won't stop. She's obsessed." That night, he looked at Karen's social media and saw posts filled with anger and resentment. He blocked her again. He felt no joy, only release. Derek began a new ritual, writing letters to his father. Not to send anywhere, but to speak to the silence. "Dad, I miss your terrible jokes. I miss your advice. I hope I made you proud. Some days I want to scream at you for ever marrying Karen. Other days I understand you needed companionship. I'm trying to forgive it all." These letters helped. In writing them, he started forgiving not just his father, but himself, for the anger, the silence, the bitterness. He updated his own will, left clear instructions, specified charities, and a note. "For my children, never let guilt rob you of your peace. Protect what matters." He realized that inheritance wasn't about money. It was about meaning. His father's last act was one of love, not revenge, not cruelty. Love. As Derek stood in the garden, the sun's warmth touched his skin, and he whispered, "Thanks, Dad, for everything."
Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Share it, because some stories are meant to be discovered together. And stay curious. I'll see you in the next chapter.